Welcome to my channel. Today I have with me a marketing pro, social media influencer, and a content creator with over 100K followers. And I'm very excited to introduce Kat.
Hey, thank you so much.
Kat, thank you for joining me. People who don't know you, tell me your viewers about what do you do?
So, a little bit about what I do. I do marketing, A to Z marketing, B2B marketing. So, from the very beginning to the very end. And most recently, I'm doing a lot of social media influencing, specifically on the LinkedIn platform, and just promoting brands, promoting their products, their visions, their services, and helping them develop their missions.
Okay, I was reading your profile. I'm gonna touch into the LinkedIn profile and how do you work on that bit later. But let's go back when you was 18. Okay, leaving US at that age, moving to Spain. How did that influence on your life?
I think it was probably one of the best things that ever happened to me. Um, I think sometimes growing up in America, we get one sense of the story, one side of the story. And when I was able to go to University of Spain, spend over just a little over a year there, there was students from everywhere. We were such an international core. There were so many expatriates. There were so many, Spanish nationals. Um, I remember really the biggest. I remember one day. Because at the time when I was there, we didn't really have a whole lot of social media or access to email at that time. So I did ask my mother to send me a newspaper from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, which is where my mother lived in Atlanta, Georgia. And I wanted to compare it to the Spanish newspapers because I was fluent in both Spanish and English, and I wanted to see if the stories were the exact same. And one thing I noticed is that with the paper newspapers, though they were about the same factual events, the way in which they were told essentially kind of created two truths for me. So it definitely expanded my mentality to understand that a lot of times um, truth is in the eye of the beholder. It's who's telling the story. And I realized the power of marketing, the power of storytelling in that moment.
Yeah, it's great. That's what I believe in that. The more diversify yourself, you go and meet with these cultures, different nations, different people. It opens your mind, right? It makes you to the next level. That's super important to go out and meet with people, whether it's online through these days social media is very powerful, or you go in person if you have the opportunity. But yes, that it does change your mental side of the brain. Definitely.
Most definitely.
Yeah, coming back then from there, from Spain, okay, working in asset management to sales management, the life was good, right? And then
Yeah.
if we can talk about, you mentioned in your profile, your son born prematurely, right? And everything changes for you, a change of career. What happened?
Right. Things happened pretty quickly. So from 2000 to just about 2008, things were going very well here in the U.S. And I know a lot of people will remember the crash of 2008. Um, and I was affected as well. I think many of us were, especially those of us who just graduated from college, from university. It was our first career, right? We just graduated from university. It was our first career. And we had achieved a lot of success in a very short amount of time. And and it kind of was too good to be true, just a little bit, because when the crash happened, it happened, and a lot of people paid a very hefty price for that crash, including myself. And right around that time, I became pregnant with my first son when the crash was happening. So my first son was fine; he was good, and I was able to work, and um, I was still, working in corporate sales and marketing, and things were fine. My second child, when I was 14 weeks pregnant, uh, and you go in to find out if it's a boy or a girl. And on that day, I was sitting there with my doctor, very amazing doctor, Dr. Fazzoni, it was great. And he said to me, I want you to know that there's something else going on with your baby. And he explained to me that he had a thing called hydrops fatalis, and that essentially there was a huge blood incompatibility to the point where the treatments, the RhoGAM shots, all these things, they were not working, they were not going to work. And there was fluid all over the baby. And that if the baby did live, he would most likely have cerebral palsy if he actually did make it. Um, the baby was a total trooper. I was at the hospital every day. Every day. He was born prematurely, but I was at the hospital every day. They were running tests, Doppler imaging, doing amniocentesis, all these things. Um, the baby was born, and within the first 72 hours of life, he coded, like he actually died 3 times and was revived. Um, and so essentially after that, it was quite a long road. I became a single mom at that point. I think maybe the stress was just too much for the father, and I still don't exactly know, but raising a 2-year-old toddler and a child who's got some serious medical complications can be very stressful. So I was doing that on my own, um, and my career had to take a serious backseat. I had to choose my children first, and so that's essentially what happened up to that point.
Uh, I'm sure that made you so much stronger, fighting on that fronts, managing yourself, and people can see probably there you are today, right? You're a strong person. You're influencing so many others. You're helping out others. So let's go back to your profession, okay?
Mhm.
Content creating, business branding, helping others. How it started? What's the motivation around it?
That's so funny. So I've always been, I have a master's in business administration in global marketing. So I have a marketing background, a traditional marketing background. When I was going to school, they didn't teach digital marketing. It wasn't a class. That wasn't something that was happening to the extent that it is today. Um, so marketing was always a go-to. Um, and one of the career changes that I made when I had my son, who is now very healthy, but my second son, who was very sick, was that I had to find a job that would allow me to have my summers off so we could do his surgeries. I had to have those 8 to 10 weeks off every summer for his medical care. And the only job that I could find that would allow me to do that was teaching a public high school. So I ended up teaching mathematics, algebra, anything that I could qualify for, marketing, business management, career courses. Um, and I took a huge, huge, massive pay cut, and I knew it, but I had to put my son first. Once my son healed and got better, and I realized this was right during the pandemic, right? Things were changing, the pandemic was happening, and teaching was changing. The schools weren't the same. They were shut down, they were open, they were closed, resources were getting stressed, children were getting stressed. And for me, I made the decision at that point to make a career change back into corporate. It was something that I wanted to do again. I knew this was the time to return. I knew my family could handle it, me and my 2 children. So that was the time. At that point, I went to my LinkedIn profile that I hadn't touched for about 6 years, and I opened it up, and I had, out of nowhere, 20,000 followers. I don't know where they came from. Not sure how that happened because I wasn't on LinkedIn when I was teaching at all. Um, and I said to myself, you know what, I had this idea that maybe it would be a good thing for my children because my oldest son, they're both, heading into high school. I said, maybe it would be a good idea to at least have a LinkedIn profile, make some connections, network a little. And then when the children get older, they apply to university. Maybe I'll be able to get them some internships. That was the only reason I went on LinkedIn, was to ultimately, in a few years, find some internships for my children when they graduate and go to university. That was it. And it kind of took a life of its own. I ended up connecting with some extremely amazing people very quickly that are very fluent in the LinkedIn platform and how it works. And before long, I was able to build up my following, create a personal brand, and take all that kind of old school marketing knowledge and practice that I had from back in the day, um, and use it along with just my personal experience as a human being, as a female, as an entrepreneur, and as a single mom, and began representing for brands and companies.
I think this can relate to many people these days, right? People went to various platforms, or they open their own business, or they want to be entrepreneur because of these pressures, or family issues, or money. They want to make extra cash. Everyone has their own reason. So this is a great thing. You can do it, okay, if you take the right approach. But what challenges you faced in order to get where you are today, on
Oh,
especially social media side?
I will say that probably one of the biggest challenges is ourselves. And what I mean by this is that social media, it can be very unforgiving. You're really becoming vulnerable. You're putting yourself out there. Um, you're open to all sort of scrutiny and criticism and praise equally. And I think when you fail harder, right? When we fail, when we're on social media and a huge platform and we fail, we fall, it hurts. And so getting back up every time, knowing we can do this, continuing to take the next right indicated step, maintaining our morals and values, doing the right thing, even despite whatever the circumstances are. I think that is probably one of the biggest challenges is the consistency.
I agree. And I spoke with so many people. If you're not consistent, after a while, you're just gonna go out from that. Okay, you can do it better, or you're doing good for 2 months, 3 months, 6 months, but then you are not consistent, and that's not gonna work. And probably that's one of the reasons when many people start these sort of platforms, or something new, they go out. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think you touched on some of the things, but I'm going to ask you this one. When would you say you have taken that step that changed your life? And you can say it was turning point in your life, and you glad you did it.
I think the biggest, wow, there's probably a few, but I will say that one of the biggest turning points was I was speaking to a mentor of mine, and she also had three teenagers, and she was a single mom. And I was going through a very low point. My children were still little, and we were just struggling. And I said to her, I said, you know, I don't know how you do this. I don't think I can do this. I said, this is just too much. This is too stressful. I said, I don't think I can do this. How do you do this? And she said, you know what, Kat? She goes, I didn't have a choice. She goes, those children depend on you. You're the only one there for them. You don't have a choice. You have to do this. You have to go forward every day, no matter what, and have it happen anyway. And when she said that to me, it was a turning moment for me. I realized, she said, no one's coming. And as horrible as that sounds, I needed to hear that. I needed to resonate with the fact that no one's coming to save me. No one's coming to save these children. This is on me.
Yeah,
I have to make this happen. I don't have a choice anymore. It's
yeah,
not optional.
yeah. And I think it's very brave and courageous to say, because to say is very easy, right? A lot of people will say, okay, someone pushed me, and say, oh, there's no one to help. Okay, you are the only one. If you can't do it, no one can do it for you. But actually, to take it into actual perspective and take that step and move forward, it's all depends on the person, right? How they're going to take that advice. uh, as a digital marketer, okay, what will be the one ingredient or a quality you need to be successful?
One ingredient. Oh, wow. That's a tough one. Okay,
What
one
one?
ingredient. Just
What could
I think
be?
what's the top? One ingredient for digital marketing.
Or the best way to sell yourself or sell your services?
I think I'll be honest, I think understanding the customer journey is essential. It is critical. It's kind of like translating from English to Spanish. Um, if for those of us who speak a few languages, when you translate from one language to another, it does get lost in translation sometimes. There are some things that don't exactly translate perfectly. You have to find a way to finesse that communication. And I think marketing is part of that. Marketing essentially is translating. It's taking whether it be a technology, a platform, a product, or a service, and taking it from purely the technical lingo, the technical verbiage that used, and finding a way to communicate the value of the product to the customer so that their journey is easy and it's desirable for them. It
Yeah,
creates value for them.
I agree 100%. Yeah. Okay, LinkedIn, amazing platform. We all know if we're using it correctly in the right way, and you grew your followers in thousands and thousands. Okay, what's your strategy? I'm sure people will like to know.
Uh,
Like,
every day.
every
Be
day.
on every single day. Don't miss a day.
It sounds easy, but can anyone do it every day? They
I
create.
think anybody can. I do. I think anyone can do anything that they want to. I really do. I think I know that there are limitations, and I know that kind of sounds like Pollyanna and idealistic and super happy-go-lucky,
Yeah.
but I
Okay.
think the biggest thing is if we don't give up. If if I quit anything, whatever I'm endeavoring, I have 0% chance of success.
Yeah.
0%.
Yeah. Great message. And going back to you earlier, what you said, every day means consistent. You have to be consistent, right? You're doing it, you're repeating that things, you're bringing new stuff, you just pushing it, and results come, right?
Yep, they do.
Yeah, great. Okay, what would you say to others who wants to change their lives? They have ideas, but they are reluctant for obvious reasons to take that step. They take that step. What they should do?
First thing is create a vision. Define what it is that you really want. Create a vision, define a goal. The second step is find a mentor. Find someone that has what you want. Identify, resonate with someone that has the life that you're looking for. What is it about that person? One of my best mentors was also a single mom. She was also a single mom, and in many ways, she's almost like almost in some sense like a mother to me sometimes. I can go to her with anything, but she has what I want. And I asked her how she got there, and she told me. And so I think that's a big thing, finding a mentor.
Yeah, I think you just nailed it because that was I was about to say. You have the vision, but you need the mentor. And how many people I spoke with in various backgrounds, they come from various places. They always say to me, mentor is really, really important to push you through, especially in the beginning of your career. Yeah, great. Kat, thank you so much. Jackson, Mississippi. It's very early morning for you.
It
So,
is, but I believe Jackson State is playing for the SWAC championship just a few hours after the United States and Netherlands play for the
yeah,
World Cup in a
yes.
knockout round. So
World Cup, yes. Yeah. Yeah, thank you
it's
so
going to
much.
be all sports in our house today.
Really great. Thank you for talking with you and appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much.